All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
Welcome. We're back with another episode of Real Talk. I'm here with my guy, Dev. We holding it down tonight for y'all. Dev, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, Kenny, man. How you feeling, baby?
I'm good. You know, we're going to hold it down for Ray. I saw that there was that B2K was on Drink Champs, so he might be hosting a watch party.
B2K doing a welcome back tour or something, man?
Yeah. I think he might be hosting a watch party, so
I guess they're gonna be doing it for Lord Saint.
Shout out to our guy Ray. We just kidding around.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Shots Fired all the time.
Right, Ray, aka Ray Bayless. So yeah,
wait to have my
we
guy
know
back.
that NFL kicked off the night as we speak. Where we got the Bills and the Rams going on, and we're gonna try to keep you guys updated and with some scores, and some live reaction as we're going. But we're gonna kick off the show. We're gonna, you guys know that always often talk about being a coach. So our first topic has to do with coaches. And it's new coaches in the NFL. So, excuse me, we got some over-unders for some new coaches and some new teams, or that are coaching for some new coaches, coaching for teams this year, their first season. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to go through a few of them, and we're going to give our prediction as to what we think it's going to be, whether it's not going to be an over or under. So the first one on our list is the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel. New coach there. We came from the coaching tree of Sean McVay. I'm sorry, not Sean McVay, of Shanahan. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see. And there's a lot of weapons there. It's a lot of hype, a lot of excitement around the Dolphins. And so the over-under is 8.5 in terms of wins for them this season. So Devin, what you think? You think it's gonna be an over, or you think it's gonna be an under?
I think it's going to be over just a little bit. I think they might get to 9 games, because, like I said, that AFC East is pretty much owned by the Bills. The Bills is showing that they are a real complete team by winning out and spend money on their defense this year. So that most definitely, and it paid off by Von Miller getting a sack on the last couple drives. So the Dolphins is going to be battling New England a little bit. We still yet to see what type of noise New England is going to bring. But I do see the Dolphins just having that little bit more over New England, just because the bringing Tyreek Hill down there, the compliment with Waddle and what's that tight end name?
Gesicki, yeah,
Gesicki. So that's most definitely give Tua some options to actually try, because he's most definitely fighting for his career pretty much right now.
Without question.
At least fighting for staying on the Dolphins team, at least be a starter in the league, because with these weapons and with a new coaching staff coming in, he kind of got a second chance already. And if Tua don't really step up and use these weapons like everybody is predicting him to do, Miami's going to have a rough year. And like I said, 9 wins with this AFC deep teams. The AFC West got 4 teams competing out of there. The AFC North potentially got 3 to 4 teams competing out of there. So, it's only leaving a couple slots left open in this AFC. So I see Miami winning 9 games, but winning 10 plus, I kind of don't really see that this year.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I think I'll give them 10. So either 9-8 or 10-7.
Hmm.
And I just think the infusion of talent that they have that's going to lead them to get a few more wins because they were pretty close in terms of knocking on the door of being a playoff contender on last year. So you would think with the talent upgrade that will lead to a few more wins. And I think
Hmm.
the other thing is that we talked about this before that I think New England is going to take a step back. I think they're going to be
Right.
second in that division behind, Buffalo, of course, the team to beat in the division, but I think they're going to be right behind them in terms of who they're going to um, have to deal with for the division. And so it's going to be interesting to see. So quick update, Bills up 10-0,
Hmm.
10-0 on the Rams, which is, a little surprising considering, this was the Rams quote unquote coronation. And, they raised their banner and all of that good stuff. So, uh, but yeah, 10-0, Buffalo up early in the first quarter. So let's keep it moving. So I'm a Jacksonville resident. So I wanted to talk about the Jaguars and get into their number. Their number is 6.5, and I'm going to go first and say that that's tough because
Because
seven
his
games,
games.
7 games with that. Because I think the reason why I say that is because it's still a young team. You still got, Trevor Lawrence in terms of trying to figure out who he is as a quarterback. And while they've upgraded the talent to a degree, bringing in a Christian Kirk definitely helps. Evan
Hmm.
Ingram is going to help. I still don't think that those guys are more like, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, and then a tight end 2. You know, maybe Ingram's a borderline tight end 1. Some people would probably consider him a tight end 1. Depends on your
He
preference.
depends. He
Yeah,
tweeted
yeah,
in that line. He said in that line.
yeah. He's towing that line. So having said that, I think that and of course Etienne, you got to see whether or not he's going to be the guy that he was in Clemson in terms of being that jack of all trades. So I think that's the key. Is that Etienne has to be that, that utility night type of guy where they can use him in the passing game as well as in the running game. Because they
Hmm.
still got James Robinson there as well. So they can have a nice little two-headed running attack if Etienne is able to be productive. So I think the potential is there for them to get to 7. I'm just not sure. I think I'm going to go under and say they get to 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ride your coattail on that one. By them just being a young team, and this is was Doug Marrone first year being down there.
Peterson.
And yeah, Doug Peterson. They looked at subpar in preseason, but you can just see that their maturity, their growth is pretty much going to hold them back this year. It's no discredit to them. I think they're going to be in a lot of games, but them not having a lot of veteran leadership on that team that's going to kind of hurt them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can see them getting 2-6 games because, like I said, I see them in a lot of games, and they might be in some games with teams that we think is contenders. But like I said, with their youth and not having veteran leadership there, that project is going to at least take another year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Especially to see what Trevor Lawrence is finally going to deliver. Um, that number 1 overall pick from last year. What's his name? I can't think his name. Walker, I believe is his last name.
Oh yeah.
I think he's a stud. I think it's going to take him about a year or 2 to actually make his name and make his mark as their elite pass rusher. But Jacksonville in the future they got bright. They got something to look for.
Mm-hmm.
As long as their coach don't go off the rail like they did last year. You know what I mean? Getting
Yeah.
getting lap dances from young ladies at a
Lord have
bar and
mercy.
stuff like that. So You know what I mean? I believe Doug Peterson is not that type of coach. So I think Jacksonville going to get the 6 games, but they are going to be in a lot of games like how Detroit was last year.
Yeah. It's going to be. I think the point that you make that's really important is that it's going to take some time for him to build that culture. Like, we've only seen this Jaguars team has pretty much been a losing franchise for the majority of its existence. So they really haven't had, besides a few playoff runs here and there, they had the run a couple of years ago where they went to the AFC Championship game. But really, it's been mostly losing and not a whole lot of winning. So that takes time to, to change the mentality, to change the work habits, to change to even get that kind of that bad, karma or that bad juju out of the, out of the organization. So, because hey man, trust me when I tell you. And the crazy thing is that Florida's football country, so it's not like they want to support. They just want to see some, want to see a winner, and not be outside broiling, bacon, and watching guys lose. So just hopefully we'll be able to get some. But I think you're right. I think they're going to be a competitive team this entire season, and I'm really looking forward to see what Doug Peterson's impact is going to be on the team. So speaking of a guy coming from winning a Super Bowl or being a Super Bowl winning coach, we got another Super Bowl winning coach, but he was as an offensive coordinator. We got our guy Josh McDaniels in Las Vegas, he was taking over for John Gruden, and we saw all of the turmoil that they went through last year, but they still was able to make the playoffs and gave Cincinnati a run for their money. So the over under for the Raiders is 8.5. So what do you think? You think the Raiders will go over that, or you think they're going to be under that?
I got them going over that. Even though I did pick the Chargers to win that division, but that division is going to be, it is going to be tough. Honestly, I think the AFC West is pretty much going to take each other out when it's time for playoff time, because they're going to be battling all year long to see. Most definitely, these teams are going to try to keep Kansas City out the number 1 spot, because they know once KC get hot, they get rolling. KC is a scary team. Doesn't matter if they lose Tyreek Hill or not. They still got Pat Mahomes, who's one of the arguably top 3 quarterback in the league. But as far as the Raiders, Josh McDaniels, he inherited one hell of a good team, in my opinion. With all that turmoil, like you said, with all that stuff they went through last year, they still made the playoffs. They still fought. They still went out in the offseason and was able to attract a trade to get Devontae Adams now. Now you give Derek Carr number 1 wide receiver, you give him a number 1 tight end, and you give him a decent running back in Josh Jacobs. I still believe in Jacobs.
I do too.
And now you like Hunter Renfrow, and you give him all these other spot pieces. And Josh McDaniel is really a good offensive genius. He can most definitely show his talent when it comes to him calling plays.
Oh, absolutely.
So now he inherited a team that sky's the limit for them. Because like I said, between them and the Chargers, I believe is going to get there. So I think that the Raiders will be at 9 to 10 wins, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. I think they definitely get into double figures in terms of wins because, like you said, it's just a lot of talent. There's a lot of toys for Derek Carr to work with him. So, and I think they're going to commit more to the run as well. I think Josh Jacobs was underutilized. I think that was part of his frustration is that he was underutilized. I think he fell in love a little bit with the pass too much at times. So I think that he's going to get more of he's going to get a bigger role in his offense. So I think that you're going to see a lot more productive Josh Jacobs this upcoming season. So that's going to
Just
be
imagine if he was underutilized and he still
yeah,
grabbed what 870 yards last year rushing.
yeah.
So you know what I mean. That just imagine you just keep using him as your workhorse. That's 1,000-yard back. I thought he was 1,000-yard back.
Yeah, well, he was close. I want to say he was like 900 or something. I mean,
Now he's about 870 something
was
in
he?
that nature.
Okay,
Yeah, because I remember we was having that top trio conversation: the quarterback, running back,
gotcha.
wide
Yeah,
receiver.
Right.
Ooh, God.
So here we got another. We got a couple more we're gonna go to, and the next one we're gonna deal with is we're staying in the AFC West, and we're gonna talk about the Denver Broncos. Nathaniel Hackett, his first season there, he's got Russ. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see if he's gonna let Russ cook. You know, was he gonna have to let Russ cook? So their number is 10.5, and I'm gonna say they're gonna go under. I think that number is a little too high. I think we're overestimating how impactful Russell Wilson will be. Now, don't get me wrong; they do definitely have some weapons. Jerry Jeudy is a good wide receiver when he's healthy. Still got, and they got a really good defense, so that should be able to keep them in games. They got what's the young guy, Sutton, who's pretty good. Courtland Sutton, who's another good wide receiver. I didn't like the fact that they dealt the tight end in that deal. I wish they would have held on to him. I think that's going to hurt them a little bit. But they got a good, good stable of running backs as well with Melvin Gordon. I think is that used to be with the Chargers. Yeah. So but having said all of that, I think it takes time for a quarterback to gain that chemistry with his offensive weapon. So I think it's going to be an adjustment period. I don't think we're going to see the same level of production with Russell Wilson in the beginning of the season. I think as the season goes on that they'll develop that chemistry and it'll get better. But I think it's going to be a little rough treading after the first few weeks of the season as they kind of get their legs under them and get their timing and all of that stuff down pat. So and especially now that they don't, guys don't play preseason games. That's an opportunity to get the rust out and to be able to get the those connections in live game situations. And so the fact that they don't really play preseason games, I think that's gonna, especially in this situation, I think it's gonna have an impact.
Right.
So I think they go under. I think they wound up at 9 and 8. I think they're just a little, just a game over 500, but I don't think that they go into double figure wins. What do you think?
No, I don't really see it because once again, like I was just saying about the Raiders, that division is going to be sitting there fighting each other all year, and I just think that the Chargers and the Raiders has better pieces than what the Broncos have. Speaking, like I said, I keep hyping the Chargers up like it's my team, but them signed Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. that was a huge deal right there.
No
That's now giving your young quarterback some pressure off his back a little bit because now your defense will Bosa and Derwin James. You know what I mean? That's a nice combo. That's a nice defense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a defense that can at the right peak at the right time and might get hot at the right point can carry you into the postseason deep. You know what I mean? And be that underrated team that a lot of people didn't suspect the Chargers to be. So going back to the Broncos, I can just that right there alone can almost knock you not winning that division. And then like I said, the Raiders, we hyped the Raiders up to already give them 10 wins. 9 to 10 wins. So it's going to be difficult for the Broncos to even.
Everybody can't
Yeah,
win.
everybody can't.
Yeah.
So Chris, remember that, Chris. Everybody can't win. Can't win, man. You know what I mean?
You're not gonna have
Shout out to our
teams
man
playing.
Chris.
No doubt.
But it's going to be tough for the Broncos, and like you said, by Russ actually trying to get acclimated to this new system, trying to learn, didn't play in the preseason, and with the other teams, and like I said, Kansas City. That team is still a scary team in that division. So, you know, I don't see the Broncos really getting that.
Yeah. So we're in agreement there. The last one is a shout out to our boy Mike Hughes, Mr. All Things WNBA. He's a Chicago Bears fan, so we saved the best for last. Well, not really the best, but I was trying to show him some love, but I got to be honest.
we got an update.
Yeah. The Rams just walked down the field.
Stanford threw a touchdown to Cup. Now it's 10-7. 3 minutes left before halftime.
Yes, indeed. So we got the Bears are at 6.5. So 6.5 that's an interesting number. What do you think? You think they go over, or you think they're going under?
I don't know. It's like the Bears is one of that team. We scratched our head during the offseason, especially when they let Marcus Robinson go. I mean, is that the wide receiver for the Rams?
Oh, they went to the Rams. I know you're talking about. Give me a second. Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson. There we go. When they let him walk, and he's a good wide receiver. Especially you pair him up with what they got, Mooney down there, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been a nice duo. Because I see Fields being a decent quarterback. I think Fields has potential in him. I think he's matured and grew up a little bit from last year. But the Bears, I can just see them just getting the 6 wins, really. I didn't see them do enough in the offseason to actually compete in that division. Because, you know, the Packers took a little step back with losing Devontae Adams. I arguably think that Minnesota has the best trio with Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, and Justin Jefferson in that division. You know, all of them. Kirk Cousins is a 4,000-yard passer. Dalvin Cook is a 1,000-yard runner. Justin Jefferson is a 1,000-yard wide receiver and arguably a top 5 wide receiver. The Bears letting Allen Robinson go, letting Khalil Mack go, you know, and you didn't really get no value back for neither one of them. I could just see them staying, you know, maybe below 7. I can maybe them seeing 5-6 games. I think they're going to struggle this year. Just because Justin Fields doesn't have enough talent around him. I'm not saying that these guys is some wash or some trash down in Chicago, up in Chicago, but I just don't think they did enough to compete, even to stay alive in that division.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think the 5 is going to be. I think 6 is even a stretch because you know, to your point, it's just not enough talent there. Like, I'm really concerned that this lack of talent is going to force Justin Fields to try to do too much, and you know, wind up getting himself hurt. But I think that it's the start of a rebuild for them. I think they realized that Allen Robinson wasn't the number 1 receiver, and so I think that was part of the reason why they let him walk.
He ain't number 1 wide receiver with the Rams either, but the Rams threw some money at him.
right. But I think that's the perfect situation for him because they got a number 1 in Cooper Kupp. So, you know, I think that's really where you're going to see him be productive because they do have that. You know, they have that number 1 guy that he can kind of, you know, work off of him. off the attention that he gets, and that's going to free him up to make plays. But yeah, going back to the Bears, I think that the biggest thing is that when you got a young quarterback and an inexperienced quarterback, and then a lack of offensive talent, I think that's just a recipe for disaster. So I think 5 or 6 wins is their best case scenario, but there's no way they get to 7. So I definitely would go under there.
Sorry, Mike, we ain't riding with
it. Sorry, Mike. You know we got love for you, bro.
I know Mike Paul be in the house looking at this like he probably like, oh man.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, he's definitely in his he's definitely in his feelings right now.
He probably great. Hit the little comments like, man, forget you guys. I ain't riding with y'all team.
Nah, actually, you know what though? Mike is a straight shooter, so I don't think that he would disagree with us too much. So, but we'll see.
We'll see.
But yeah, we did give a little update on the Thursday night game that's going on right now. Buffalo's up 10-7. We're getting close to the end of the first half. So what are your thoughts in terms of what you've seen so far from the game, and then what are your predictions rather for the rest of this game? What do you think is going to happen? Who's going to come out on top?
What I've seen so far is a lot of rust. A little bit. We can see that some of these guys not playing in the preseason is really showing. Number 2, Bray, if you saying Stephon Diggs is not a top wide receiver, I hope you is watching this game, because right now he is giving it to Ramsey. You know what I mean? So shout out to Stephon Diggs, man. We keep telling Ray Bayless that Stephon Diggs is a top wide receiver in this game. And right now he's showing it. With Josh Allen throwing these hot heaters, and looking for him and back shoulder and all that, Diggs is able to adjust and able to show that he's the top wide receiver. So Ray, I hope you paying attention. And the Rams right now, I think they still on that Super Bowl high a little bit. I think probably in the second half is where we're going to start seeing a lot of teams waking up. Both teams waking up. We're going to start seeing defenses might be cranking up. Well, the defense kind of look good on both sides anyway. Yeah. They out there getting sacks. So hopefully the offensive line will wake up coming out the second half. And I think we're going to get a nail biter. I don't think it's going to be no blowout, because both teams is not no slouch. But I'm rooting for the Bills. I did pick the Bills to actually win this game, because I believe the Bills is a complete team. I think this is their year that they need to answer this calling. I think Josh Allen is really going to be an MVP candidate. I actually picked Josh Allen to actually win the MVP this year.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that we're seeing right now is that, to your point, is that the rust factor is definitely evident. We're seeing a lot of the offensive line is struggling. The Rams started a little slow. Buffalo got off to a fast start, but it seems like they're kind of walking them down now. And Aaron Donald was starting to get cooking here, and he started getting cooking in the second quarter. So I think I totally agree with you. I think that this is going to be a close game. And like yourself, everybody is. I was watching, some sports TV today and watching some of the debate stuff and things like that. And a lot of people are picking Buffalo, and I picked Buffalo to be the Super Bowl champion. Now I'm getting a little nervous about my pick, because normally when you got a bunch of people that's on a team, that's when they want to mess it up. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and we got an interception. Oh, Bills are moving down the field.
See, that's what I'm saying, man. That rust, man. Rust.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that this is a close game, and I think that the Rams are going to wind up pulling this thing out because my original thought was that they were going to have like a little Super Bowl hangover, and that all of this celebrating and getting rings and seeing banners go up, but I think it would cause them to lose a little focus, and I thought that the Bills would be able to steal one. But now, having watched this game and seeing how, especially
It's like
what you were saying?
This the third turnover for the Bills, really. 2 interceptions and a fumble.
Yeah. So I think the mental side is that we're seeing that I think the Rams are a little more solid in terms of with their mental mistakes or less with their mental mistakes. And I just think that they kind of locked in now, and they're now, the whole Super Bowl thing is worn off, and they're going to work. And I just think that especially these last two in this second quarter, like the second half of this second quarter has been all LA. They walked down the field this last drive, and then they just turned them over, and now they got a chance to score again, in this, in the 2-minute drill. So I just think that they're seizing their momentum, and I think they're gonna pull. They're gonna pull off a close win. So I got the Rams winning this game. Yeah, I got the Rams winning this game.
Yeah, it's most definitely going to be close. That second, we most definitely going to see how the opening of the second half is. If these turnovers calm down and this offensive line, start blocking a little bit better, I don't know. I'm still going to ride with the Bills, but yeah, it's most definitely going to come down to a field goal or whoever has the ball last.
It's going to be a one-score game, and for Matthew Stafford just overthrew Cooper Kupp, and that could have very easily been another interception. So this has been some lackluster football we've seen in this first half for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But so we talked about Mike Hughes and his team. Now we got to talk about your team, my guy. We got to talk about those Ravens. Got to talk about those Birds.
Let me sit up for this conversation.
Yeah, because I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you cook on this one, and I'm gonna react to whatever you have to say. So the question is that we know that Lamar Jackson has now given them a deadline of tomorrow. Tomorrow's the deadline for making the deal, and so. The question is that so if you're right, so he doesn't have an agent, so but I'm sure he has someone advising him. So if you are his advisor, what are you telling Lamar Jackson? Are you telling him to play on the franchise tag of the $23 million, or are you telling him to sit until he gets a deal?
Go ahead and play, man, because either way, you're going to get paid. Whether the Ravens want to pay you or it's going to be sky's the limit. And each team, whether they have a starting quarterback or not, they probably going to be like, if we had Lamar, boy, our offense can maybe open up a little bit. But I don't see Lamar going nowhere. Like I said, I see him playing. I see him balling out this year. I think everything is going to go into Lamar's favor. I was saying something about him betting on himself. He get $23 million this year, and if we franchise tag him, he get about 43 something that year, and then if we try to franchise tag him again, that's going to put him up into the 50 range. So if he want to bet on himself, which I believe he will, and I think he is, because I don't. Yes, he's a high risk factor as far as him being injured. But Lamar is a once in a lifetime general star. You know what I mean? We probably not going to see this type of quarterback for another set of couple years, just like that gap between him and Michael Vick. So
that's a great point.
Baltimore most definitely need to get it done. But if I'm Lamar, bet on yourself. keep betting on yourself. If Kirk Cousins can go out here and bet on himself, and he finally got, even though he hasn't got near a Super Bowl or anything of that nature, but if Kirk Cousins was really out here just to get his contract, his money, if he was just all about money, I think mission is complete. He was one of the quarterbacks to get a fully guaranteed deal, betting on himself with the Washington Redskins at the time. So I'm scared because each play Lamar is going to be out there dancing and moving. I'm going to be like, oh god, man, just slide. Oh man, just go down. Oh man, throw it away. Oh man, I'm gonna be like that because he is our franchise quarterback. He is like I said, once in a lifetime generational talent. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be. They're going to try to compare each black quarterback, to him, but it's going to be a gap before we see another quarterback like this again. And so Lamar, man, if you watch this, if it come across your screen, your anything, however you watch your sports, protect yourself, man. When it's time for you to go down, go down. When it's time for you to throw the ball away, throw it away. You know what I mean? Live to see another day, man. Live to see that big contract that you're searching for. Live to give us that Super Bowl that you pretty much promised us that you're going to deliver. So just please everything, you know what I mean? And Ravens, most definitely, please pay the man. You need to pay. I understand that Joe Flacco, but that was years ago. I don't think he's going to dupe us like Joe Flacco did.
He ain't gonna steal money like Flacco, huh?
Yeah, he ain't gonna steal. Flacco was my man, but when he stole that money, I was like, golly, dog, you can't even get into the playoffs consecutive years, man. Like you supposed to be getting. We supposed to be a playoff team every year with you getting that money.
Yeah. No, actually, I'm gonna disagree with you. I think that if there's anybody that is the face of the franchise, the most important player to their organization, it's Lamar Jackson. He, to me, everything goes. Without him, they're dead. Like they're not a contender. They're not a playoff team.
We went 0-5 without him last year.
That's what I'm saying. So you got the ultimate hammer. You got the ultimate leverage. And to me, I'm going to wield that hammer, and I'm telling them, look, you got till 5 o'clock, close of business tomorrow. If I don't have a contract if I don't have a signed contract by 5 o'clock tomorrow, I'm out of here, and I'm not coming back until I get a deal. And I think that they're taking advantage of him being, this team guy. And so I think he's got to kind of be the bad guy here a little bit and, hold their feet to the fire and put the pressure on them, as the kids say, apply pressure because, you got the hammer, you got the leverage, and you don't get this, especially in the NFL, you don't get a lot of opportunities to, wield leverage against a team. And he is definitely in position to do that. So I think he does need to do that. Damian,
man, if you go in the comments, not to cut you off, man.
No, go ahead.
If you go in the comments to see what Damon
that's what I was just about to address. I was just about to address that.
Go ahead. I don't even want to say it. I can't believe Lamar not worth $200 million, my man.
Yeah, Kyler Murray is worth. What did Kyler Murray get? Didn't he get 200?
No, he didn't. I think he got like
165.
Yeah, something in that nature.
Something like that. Yeah. If Kyler Murray's worth 165, who's never even won a playoff game, and you got an MVP who's been to multiple playoffs, there's no way that he's not worth $200 million. Especially
he worth $200 million regardless.
Right, and especially if you got a guy like Deshaun Watson gave him 235.
And he didn't play not one lick last year.
Not a game, and you got 50, 11 cases up against you and civil cases and all of this, and you get 235, and you telling me that Lamar is worth 200 million? No way. Get out of here. Miss me with that.
Man, Damien, who is your quarterback, man? What team did you rock? Well, I need to see who is your 200 mil quarterback. Because if you saying Lamar is not a 200 mil quarterback, you kidding me, man. Look, you got to sit here and think the Ravens changed their whole offense just for Lamar, and he has more playoff success than Kyler Murray. You know what I mean? He has more playoff success than Deshaun Watson. So I can't agree with you on that one, Damien, man, because the Ravens, we actually got rid of. We broke that whole team that we built for Joe Flacco that year. That last year, Joe Flacco was with us, Lamar rookie year, and you know what I mean. So you can't say that he's not worth. If you're ready to deplete your whole offense, you know what I mean, and say we're gonna start from scratch and we're gonna be a playoff contender team. You know what I mean? That's a bold statement. A lot of teams can't do that. The Chicago Bears can't just do that for Justin Fields. It's going to take some time. You got to put talent around him. You can't just say Justin Fields can lead the Bears out of the stinker hole that they in right now. You know what I mean? But if you put Lamar on the Bears, you probably be like, Lamar and them, they gonna get 7 wins in that division. That division wide open with Lamar in the NFC North. You know what I mean? So, like I said, not to downgrade Justin Fields, but I think he has potential. But man, look, Lamar, you put Lamar on a lot of teams. Like I said, if the Ravens slip the ball and let Lamar walk out here, man, it's going to be a lot of teams, even with starting quarterbacks, is going to be like, Lamar sounds pretty decent right now. We got about 220 something mil that they guaranteed for him or whatever he's looking for.
Yeah, without question. So, and I think the other thing is that, like we talked about, but what playoff games has Deshaun Watson won?
I think
I don't even think he won a playoff game. I'm almost certain he hasn't won a playoff game. And you got $235 million. So again, I think that the other comment is that the market, like the timing of the market, he clearly is. If you're splitting the difference between $235 million and $165 million, whatever, if you're gonna split the difference, that's $200 million. So I don't think there's any question that he's worth $200 million. And the other thing is I don't think we've seen the best version of Lamar Jackson yet. I think he's going to become a more accurate quarterback. And if that happens, definitely. God help you.
Oh man, then just imagine if he's that accurate quarterback. Just imagine if Mark Andrews can elevate his game,
and they get a number 1 explosive wide receiver.
Right. And I think right now I think Bateman is going to be that wide receiver. I think Bateman is going to be that wide receiver that can complete the wide receiver tree. I think he's going to be able to complete any route that you put in front of him. All he going to have to do is just learn how to just keep getting open. And if he can keep being a big target with Mark Andrews, and you find the speedy receipt of like we got Marcus Robinson this year, now you can open up that field a little bit. You know what I mean? Just imagine Hollywood Brown was still a 1,000-yard receiver with those drops last year. So like you said, man, if Lamar get more accurate, he's going to be knocking on that door with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers being one of the accurate quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah. And Damien, he's only been injured 1 year, so he's not injury prone. Like, that's an incorrect statement. Last year was the first year that he had any significant injuries. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's good.
And you gotta tell us who your quarterback is, man.
Yeah, right. We're still waiting on that answer. And thanks to
let us know that.
Let us know that actually that Lamar Jackson, they beat the Titans 1 year in the playoffs. So he has won a playoff game, which was another thing that he could put on his resume.
He was a top seed in the AFC going into the playoffs one year. He his second year when we play against the Chargers, he beat the Chargers in the regular season, but he wound up losing to the Chargers in the playoffs that year. And he shows growth each year. You know what I mean? So each year that analysts keep saying, "Oh, Lamar need to do this. Oh, Lamar need to do that." He wind up doing it. You know what I mean? Like you said, other than last year, he got our whole team got hit with the injury bug last year. So you can't just say it was just Lamar. It was just Lamar got he was just the last piece that got nicked. And you got to think all those games that he even wasn't there, we were still in those games. Those 0-5 games, we were still 3 points of field, of bringing it home. Just a couple 2-point conversions away of actually winning some of those games.
Yeah, and I think that's a credit to Coach Harbaugh because you guys had some serious injury issues last year. And the fact that you guys were so competitive throughout the season, that's a real credit to him. So yeah, we'll just agree to disagree with Damian in terms of that. But for that comment, did Aaron deserve a pay raise? I think that. Oh, well, no wonder. Of course you did. That there you go. That's why. That totally explains it. Yeah, Justin Fields is just he's an ascending quarterback, so you don't even have to think about it. He's on his rookie contract. So you don't even have to think about or worry about contract issues when it comes to him.
The Bears gonna give it to him. They're gonna say, "Look, man, there's nothing else out there. Come on with us."
Look who we had to subject you to. Yeah, you earn this money here. Go ahead, man. Take this. But
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, yeah, go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers, he is back-to-back MVP. Other than the only knock that you can put on Aaron Rodgers is that when he gets in the playoffs, he's not that bad man he is in the season. You know what I mean? That's like the only knock. Because I believe, sometimes when you talk about Aaron Rodgers, you believe that he's won multiple Super Bowls, but then when you just pull up his resume, it's just that one. So that's the only thing I deserve. I believe he deserved that pay raise because I think this is his last pay raise that he's actually going to get. Because I think I think he's done after this contract. I think the Packers is going to be like, look, we ain't going to do this Brett Favre thing with you. Either you time or you're not. You know what I mean? We ain't going to keep going back and forth. It's time to either get Jordan Love ready to be a starting quarterback, or it's time to actually, look into this quarterback field out here to see what's out here for us. So Aaron Rodgers, he deserved to pay, being regular season guy, MVP. But he's just gonna have to step it up in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like it's a different sport, but I think it's the same situation where like that the last contract that the Lakers gave to Kobe Bryant. Like we knew that Kobe wasn't the guy for the money that they were paying him, but it was like one of those parting gifts. And I think that's what Green Bay did for Aaron Rodgers. Is that, hey, this is your little parting gift. Thank you for all these years of high level play and all the MVPs and all of that stuff. And I think it was more based off of resume than it was based off of playoff production.
Right.
Yeah. So all right. So we'll hit this last topic for NFL, and then we'll move into the NBA. And I think I know where you're going to go with this one, but I'm just curious to hear your response. Actually, I'm going to go first with this one. We haven't done this in a minute, so we're doing start bench trade, and we got wide receivers that we're doing start bench trade, and our three are Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, and I just forgot the third.
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams, thank you. So I'm going to go first and say I got to start Cooper Kupp because anybody that's won the Triple Crown has done something that hasn't been done before. Like you got to start with Cooper Kupp. I think, and also I think that also the when you talk about size, speed, and hands, like he gives you that combination of those three things, and I just think that he's the best out of the bunch. And then I'm going to bench Davante Adams. You can make a case that you would start Davante Adams. It all depends on your preference because he's clearly one of the best wide receivers in the league. So it could be a 1A or 1B situation. But yeah, I'm going to bench Davante Adams, and then I'm going to trade Ja'Marr Chase. And again, it goes to the resume, like we were talking about with Aaron Rodgers. There's a lack of a resume in terms of Ja'Marr Chase, but he's off to a great start, but he's going to have to prove that he can do that on a consistent basis before he's going to move past those two guys. So so I'm starting Cooper Kupp, I'm benching Davante Adams, and then I'm trading Ja'Marr Chase. So what you got?
I agree everything you said. I was hoping that you was going to go ahead and bench Ja'Marr Chase so I can go ahead and battle with you. You know what I mean? But I gotta agree with you. Cooper Kupp, Triple Crown, that's no brainer. And he's a Super Bowl champ. Davante Adams, like I said, is arguably top wide receiver in the game. Like you said, on your preference. Ja'Marr Chase, as I keep trying to tell everybody, he is not on my top wide receiver list. Not just yet. I understand last year he had one hell of a year. Yes. He balled out. He put up Randy Moss numbers almost. But, I need to see how the Bengals going to hold up as a team. Coming off that Super Bowl loss. Did they fill up their offensive line deficiencies? Is how Joe Burrow going to look? And, everything in this whole second year, well, third year for Joe, but second year him playing, so it's like a second year for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to see them as a whole. How are they going to respond to last year? So if Ja'Marr Chase if he can put up majority of the numbers that he did, I'm not saying he need to replicate that numbers he did last year, but if he can make some noise and be a top wide receiver again this year, then I can go ahead and maybe slide him in my top wide receiver list. But as of right now, Chase still on the outside looking in, dog. Ain't no discredit to you, but I just need to see some more film of you, man. And I'm being biased that you torched my Ravens last year, so you was never gonna make my list.
I was about to say that division bias is kicking in for sure.
You know it. And it's football season, so I'm going against any team that's in my division. You most definitely know I hate the Steelers. I most definitely ain't wearing no doo-doo brown, and I most definitely ain't wearing no alley cat orange.
That's hilarious. We're on the same page on that. So let's get into some NBA. Let's get into some NBA talk. We saw an interesting signing happen this week. Montrezl Harrell signs with the Philadelphia 76ers for 2 years and $5.2 million. What do you think about that signing? What do you think it does for the Sixers and for Doc Rivers?
Oh my God! Boy, the Sixers. Hey, Chris, I don't know what your Sixers is doing over there, but man, that bench is that whole roster is getting scary. You add a PJ Tucker, you add a now Montrezl Harrell, who's most definitely going to be a good backup center behind Joel Embiid. The guy is a good rebounder. He's the high flyer. Now, let's make sure that he ain't traveling real heavy going to Philly. You know what I mean? Y'all gotta make sure my man pack real light. You know what I mean? I understand it's the Windy City, but no, that's Chicago. That's Chicago. I know it's brotherly love, but man, don't do it. You don't want that type of trouble up there, man. So pack lightly when you go up there, man. Don't be all loud in your suitcases and stuff like that, man. But other than that, man, they is getting a good. They getting a good bench role player. They getting somebody that the Lakers did not utilize right when he was with the Lakers.
I'm with you.
Because once he left the Lakers, he was playing good in Washington. He played okay in Charlotte, and now that you put him on a scary team when Embiid needs to take a break, you putting in a guy that's motor is still running. Woo! That is most definitely going to help Doc Rivers out. I don't know if Doc Rivers is on the hot seat or not, but building this team right here, man, if it's a gift and a curse, I can say, right, building this team, because if he is on the hot seat and they win, it's a gift, especially if they get deep into their playoffs and they get to the finals. If they lose, it's going to suck for Doc, but it's going to be good for the next coach that comes in, because if he can just keep that core talent right there and he put his own little spin to it and Philly and get Philly marching right to their tune, Philly can be a scary team for the next couple of years. You know what I mean? Especially if they can, keep this nice core together. PJ Tucker and Montrezl Harrell was a good signing. That's almost you getting good quality, and the Sixers didn't really, they did it quietly. They ain't make a lot of noise. They ain't say, hey, look who we bringing in. They just doing their moves silently and say, wait till the season. We gonna be here. We gonna and they can be that team how Miami should have been, because now they have scores. They have people that can close out games. Now you add it, like I said, PJ Tucker is your primary defender. He's gonna give you a good solid 20, 25 minutes, whatever his minutes or his role is going to be. I don't know if the Sixers kept Tobias Harris or not, but
they kept him.
You can now hide Tobias Harris a little bit. Well, maybe he can get a lot of spot points when PJ Tucker is on the floor, because PJ Tucker is a good passer. He most definitely like to swing the ball, and if he stay in that corner, that's most definitely can open up Tobias Harris for him. He get the moving. So the Sixers has made some good key moves this offseason.
And we got another on this additional highlights. So the second half, just really quick, the second half has just started in the Rams-Buffalo game. We got a tie game, 10-10. But yeah, I agree with you. I think, first of all, the value is outstanding. To get him on that type of deal is outstanding. I think it was a little bit of perfect timing for them, him coming off this situation he had, riding dirty.
Hey man, it's Friday. You ain't got nothing to do. Let's take this ride real quick.
Yeah. So I think they were the benefactors of that. So I think that, and then the other thing is, that gives them some versatility. They could actually, not only can they use him to spell Embiid, but they could actually play him with Embiid if they want to, and have a big lineup where you put Tobias Harris at the 3. With him and PJ Tucker and Harden, like, you could have a big, strong lineup and defensive lineup as well. So I just think it just gives some options to Doc Rivers. So I really like this signing. I think it's going to help them. I think he's another guy that has some dog in him as well. So I think that's going to also help their locker room. So I just think it's a win-win all around, and it's going to really. I think the East is going to be really serious. It's going to be a dog fight in the East between Brooklyn, Philly, Boston, of course, the defending conference champions. You still got Milwaukee. You got Chicago.
What about Cleveland? Now they got Donovan Mitchell over there.
Right, and we didn't even react to that. Let's touch on that a little bit. Talk about the Donovan Mitchell is now a part of the Cleveland Cavs. That happened while we was on a little bit of our holiday break there. So talk about what we think about that move, and talk about what the Cavs outlook is for this season now.
I think it was a good move because once again, your guy in Utah, the finesse king.
The finesse king strikes again.
My man got what, 3 first rounds?
Man, I'm about to pull it up.
Like a 5th round, and he got Larry Marketing, and he got some good key people. Like Utah, for them to go on the rebuilding stage, they got some good key young pieces that I'm not going to say that can compete, but they got some good key pieces. If they want to keep shopping around, that they can try to get some more draft picks and stuff like that. So Danny Ainge, man, y'all, you was one finesse king, my man. But Donovan Mitchell going to the Cavs. Good move for the Cavs because now they gives them, I guess, that star that they kind of need, because they had, for Cleveland to make the playoffs they was young. They got my man Darius Garland, who I believe is one hell of a guard, man.
Nice.
That man, he got the ball on the string when he's playing,
and he can shoot it.
Yeah. And then you got Mobley. Then you have what's my man with the fro? Jared Johnson, Jared Allen.
Yeah.
So you got some good young key pieces, and now you adding Donovan Mitchell, who's a 23 score a night. You know what I mean? He's most definitely, he can score. I'm not big high on him. I'm not saying he's going to get you. He's that superstar that gets you to the top, but he's most definitely that superstar that can probably start knocking on the door for that 4th or 5th seed in the East, maybe. I think they was in the play-in last year. So I think that most definitely get them out of the play-in and into the playoffs, because now they have a consistent star, and that duo with Mitchell and Garland can be very scary. And then you have big men down there that's more athletic than Rudy Gobert, that most definitely can score more than Rudy Gobert.
You give them the ball, they can actually make a play.
Yeah, so that I think that helps Donovan Mitchell a little bit more than it is in Utah. But Cleveland they're going to be in some fights, because, like you said, the East most definitely is most definitely got some teams that you gotta answer to. But most definitely Cleveland's going to be knocking. They knocking on that 5th, maybe that 4th seed, depending on if injuries kick in, to certain teams, and depending on if they get hot at the right time, and stuff like, a lot of things can play into Cleveland's favor. Good move for them. But Danny Ainge, man, golly, Doug, you did it again. I want to be like you when I grow up.
I'm trying to tell you. So this guy has pulled off 7 first-round draft picks. He's gotten 2 former lottery picks in his deal. 7 first-round picks, 3 pick swaps, and 9 players that he's gotten. So I think this is probably one of the fastest rebuilds that I've ever seen. Like, you literally just turned over an entire roster in one offseason. So kudos.
A playoff roster at that.
Exactly. And which the Bills just scored.
I was just ready to say that.
Yeah, the Bills just scored, so we're now 16-10. They're gonna go for the extra point here, and so.
But like they not that offensive rust off.
Yeah. They marched down the field in this drive. So this is
That was Stephon Diggs keeping them alive, Ray. Stephon Diggs.
And I need him to cook because I got him on one of my fantasy teams. So every catch he makes is a celebration for me. So yeah, we got 7. They hit they hit the extra point, so it's 17-10. With that, what I'm saying is about 7 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. I might be a little behind. But anyway,
7:59, yeah.
7:59. So I think that the biggest thing is on the Cleveland side is that you get another playmaker, you get another guy that can get his own shot at any time. And that's the one of the things you need in today's league is a guy that can get his own shot. So I think that's really really big. The other thing is I think they got some versatility in that because Darius Garland is a bigger guard. So I think that you can even play him at times, have him guard the twos, and maybe you put Mitchell on the ones, and maybe that kind of doesn't hurt you as bad on the defensive end. So I just think they got some versatility. They got a guy again that can get his own shot at any time. And I just think that that just makes them a lot deeper, a lot more dangerous offensively. So having said all of that, I do think that they're still behind the the Milwaukees, the Bostons, the Philadelphias, and the Brooklyns. I think that they might have moved past Chicago though.
So, them and Chicago are gonna be fighting for that fifth seed in my eyes.
And I think I'm going to give Cleveland a slight edge because I think you still got some questions in Chicago. I was reading reports where they said that Lonzo Ball may still not be ready to come back.
Yeah.
I think they got some questions there. Sorry, Damian, but they're going to. I think they may take a slight step back. So. I think Cleveland is definitely on the rise, and I like the fact that they got a really young. I think the other thing that's really big is they got a really young core of guys that they can build around, so they could be a contender for the next 5 to 7 years because all of those guys are in there. I think all of them are under 25. I think Mitchell is right at 25, so they're all pretty much 25 and under. So. You got a team that, if you could keep them together, they could contend for the next 6 or 7 years. So, and you can add more pieces around them. So, I just think that this was a major move. And, and having said all of that, I'm also glad, for Donovan Mitchell, as much as I did want him to be a Knick, I did not want to pay the price that they would, saying that they wanted him, wanted to pay for him. So,
y'all had RJ Bird, y'all had Obi Toppin.
And that's the finesse king, man, asking for the moon and the stars, and then he just settles for the stars at the end of the day. So I'm glad that we didn't make that deal. But I think Cleveland is really going to, and then don't forget they still got Kevin Love coming off the bench.
I was just great mention that.
Yeah, they still got Okoro coming off the bench. So they really have a chance to really to make some noise and really do some big things in the East this year. So they're going to be a team that you have to watch, and it's going to be fun to watch. And I'm happy for the city of Cleveland because that's a great sports fan base. So they really got a team that they can wrap their arms around and be able to really get to enjoy for the next 5 to 7 years. So that's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah. Oh man, quick update on the WNBA, man. The Connecticut Sun beat the Chicago Sky today in the elimination game, 72-63.
Oh wow! So I know my boy Mike is sick right now.
Yeah, I was rooting for Chicago. I was rooting for the Sky because I was hoping that Candace Parker could get another crack at that WNBA title.
Yeah. I'm with you, and I enjoy watching them play. I think that was a rematch.
WNBA was some good playoff run, man. They had some good bump, man. I enjoyed their playoff run this year.
Yeah, for sure. And, Matthew Stafford just made a nice long completion of Cooper Kupp. So this is going to be. What up, Ray?
What up, Ray?
Hey, I was we said that you was at a B2K watch party for Drink Champs. So you can just let us know.
Throw for Lil Saint, yo. Throw for Lil Saint.
You can let us know in the comments if that was in fact true. Was that why you couldn't be on the show tonight? But now, for real though, but seriously, they definitely Cleveland is going to be a very formidable team. They're going to be they're going to be a tough out, I think, in the East, and so we gotta. Now I just thought about this question. What do you think is the stronger conference, the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference? Top to bottom.
top to bottom. I think team wise, I want to say East has the better teams, but I think talent wise, still, I can still kind of give it to the West because you kind of forget about like Portland a little bit, like Dame Lillard. They have a star, but they just not that team that you can kind of count on to say they a playoff team. The New Orleans Pelicans, even though I'm rooting for them guys, they great young talent, great head coaching and Willie Green down there. That's still a team that you still can't say like, oh man, that's a playoff team still. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We can for the West, you got what? Golden State Warriors, Memphis, Dallas. Denver. I guess you could say Minnesota.
Yeah.
I guess depending on, I'm not gonna count my Lakers because we didn't make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, team wise, East got it because you can just name Brooklyn, Boston, Milwaukee, Philly,
right off top. Yep.
Off top right now. But you want to talk about teams that got like that hidden talent. You can probably say the West.
And we didn't even talk about Miami.
Yeah, we can talk about Miami too. Also, but I think they're gonna take a decline. I think they're gonna be underneath for Chicago and Cleveland and even Toronto.
But I'm just saying that goes to show how deep the East is.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because even that bottom tier teams like a Toronto and stuff like that, they are still a scary team, because Toronto can get high, and Toronto got some good talent up there with them.
Good young talent. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so what I mean, if they, as long as they can click at the right time and find the right style for them, Toronto can be very scary. So that's why I said the East has the better team, in my opinion. So yeah, I say the East is more stacked with teams.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I think that it's deeper. I think it's more talent. I think it's more competitive. I think it's I think the West is top heavy. I think once you get past Memphis and Golden State and Phoenix, then it's a bit of a drop off. You talk about the Denvers and the New Orleans of the world, and even in Dallas, I think, they did improve a little bit, and they did go to the conference final, but I still think that Phoenix has a better team going into this season. So it's going to be, having said all of that, and we got these, we're talking about the East and the West, and we said the East is better. So let's talk about another team that's in the East, and we saw some reports of Ben Simmons says that he's a dangerous shooter now. So I'm going to go first, and the question is do we believe that Ben Simmons is now a dangerous shooter? Now I'm going to go first and say, heck no, bro. You got to show us, because we've seen this movie before. We've seen the clips of you knocking down jump shots in workouts and in open runs, and then when the lights come on, and when they keep a score, and then tracking wins and losses, and then you freeze up, and you don't even want to look at the basket. So no, we do not believe you. We do not believe that you're a dangerous shooter. You got to show us that you're a dangerous shooter before we can believe it, especially if you're coming up a season where you said the reason that you had to sit out was because of your mental health. Now we're supposed to believe now that you're this dangerous shooter, that you're just this locked in guy and this clear from all distractions and all hurdles and all problems. And now we're supposed to believe you're a knockdown shooter. Nah, man. To me, you don't even say that. You just say that I worked on my shot all summer, and I think that
That's what I'm sorry. I just couldn't hold it.
Yeah, no, man, you gotta wait, and you gotta show and prove that. You can't talk about it, you gotta be about it. And you gotta show us that you can hit, that you can knock down open shots consistently. We don't need you telling us. You gotta show it to us. Okay, man.
That's why I feel when you put that into our topic, said Ben Simmons said he's a dangerous shooter. I had to look at the message. I had to double take. I was like, Ben Simmons?
He thought I was capping out here, huh?
I was like, hold on, man. That's a typo. He ain't say no Ben Simmons. he meant Ben Roethlisberger or something in that nature, man. Ben Simmons, man, look, I agree with you. Ben Simmons, dog, when you come across that half court, I guarantee you that nobody is going to be beyond that 3-point line. Nobody's going to be really hugged up on that free throw line, really. They're going to just give you that space and say, I dare you to shoot. Unless you somehow injected JJ Redick, Mike Miller, all these great shooters into your body. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, the only way this happening is you was on Space Jam and you gave out that basketball and they sucked the ball in, the energy and stuff like that. Then I say, yes, Ben, you is the guy. You is the dangerous shooter. You is going to Steph Curry, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, this league on fire. But for my guy who sat out, the last play we got of Ben Simmons is him heading a wide open dunk, and he passed it to a guy that's not even really an offensive player. You know what I mean? What I forgot his name. Daibu, yes. That guy is known for defense.
Yes.
But you wants to pass up an open dunk and say, hey man, I know you play defense, but here you go. This is your time to show to everybody that you are a dangerous scorer. And we gotta believe that you are a dangerous shooter now? Nah, dog. You sat out a whole year. Your legs is going to be noodles when you come onto that first game. Even if you play the first game, it's going to take you a long time to get back into game shape. You might be in basketball shape. Don't get me wrong. You might be able to play 3-on-3. You good on the scrimmages when your teammates ain't taking it too hard on you. Yeah, you good. You probably dangerous. You're probably a dangerous shooter. But if you think on week 1 of the NBA that you're gonna come out here and hit, I don't believe you're gonna hit 1-3. Even if you do hit 1-3, it's gonna be to show us to say, hey, I can shoot. You might want to think about it. You know what I mean? But I don't believe on opening day you're gonna take 3 shots. You know what I mean? You're not gonna shoot jumpers. You're probably gonna try to show that Ben Simmons of how you was your rookie year, that aggressive guy. That guy that was with no talking, no handshaking. I'm all about bullying and playing basketball. You know what I mean? Until we see that guy again, we are not taking you as a serious basketball player right now, my man. You got a long way to go before we can say you are a serious basketball player. You know what I mean? One hell of a talent, good talent. You know what I mean? Good IQ of the game, except for that last play we last seen you in, bad IQ. But other than that, good IQ of the game, can actually, play a good big guard, but dangerous shooter, you better go ahead and convince Ray on that.
Yeah, man. You just go out there and do the work and let the results speak for themselves. Don't tell us what you're gonna be. Just let your game do it for you.
Leave that shooting for KD.
Yeah, right. For sure. Well, speaking of a guy that has a point to prove, we got this guy has been he's been a regular contributor to. Matter of fact, we might need to make him a co-producer of Real Talk because he's been coming up in topics consistently since the summer. Good old Patrick Beverly, aka Pat Bev. So he's already stirring things up. You know, he just got to LA. Well, just got back to LA, I should say. Just, recently became a Laker. And now we see him telling LeBron and AD that I don't have to adjust to them. They have to adjust to me. I'm the one that made the playoffs last year. So the question is that, and of course I'm coming to you because this is your team. So of course you get the first.
Boy, I've just been in a hot seat all day today.
Yeah,
huh?
You have. So you get the first word on this. Is this Patrick Beverly Lakers situation or this marriage? Is this going to be a fruitful marriage, a productive marriage, or is this thing headed for a quick divorce?
It is what it is. It is what it
is. This guy should be a motivational speaker, inspirational. He should be something because to be truthful, that's it's real talk. Let's keep it a buck.
That's what we're doing.
He ain't speak no lie. You know what I mean? He did make the playoffs. Now, was it all him? Was he the superstar that got them to the playoffs? No. You know what I mean? Was he play key plays, key moments, showed up the way he need to show up at times? Yeah, I guess you can say that. You know what I mean? Because he is a scrappy defender. He did knock down some corner threes. He was going John back and forth with Minnesota. He didn't step down. He didn't back down. He didn't care whether they was losing or not. My man Pat Bev that's another player that gives out 100% no matter what.
Oh yeah.
He's most definitely going to. You know what I mean? You can be down 99-0. Pat Bev is still going to full court pressure you. Pat Bev is still going to talk trash to you. He's still going to give you Pat Bev. You know what I mean? And I think that's what the Lakers need. Honestly, they need that guy to come in here and say, now, tone it down just a little bit because you ain't a champion like AD and LeBron is. You know what I mean? You is bouncing from team to team each year. Other than what LeBron and AD, these guys can get multiple year contracts. You know what I mean? And I just know not to Pat Beverly, but you is coming to these guys' team. You know what I mean? These the guys that is going to make ticket sales. These the guys that's going to determine if the Lakers revenue is going to go up or down, whether they're going to get TV time or not. It's not going to be if Pat Bev ain't playing, the Lakers not get shown on TV, or they might get pushed away a little bit. If AD and LeBron not playing, it's a slight chance that ESPN be like, we ain't got another game that we can throw on real quick. No LeBron or AD. I don't know. The Lakers might get blown. We might need to throw in a sub game real quick. You're not going to get that with Pat Bev, but Pat Bev, man, you speak the truth, dog. You did make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Maybe the Lakers need to find out what did you do in Minnesota did last year just to make the play-in. Because that's what they did. They made the play-in. They made some noise. They got past the team that wasn't quite on their level. And they, you went to Minnesota to a team that's, we don't see them as a champion team yet, but we do see them deep into a playoff every year. And we look at Minnesota, it's like, other than Cat and Ant-Man, what do Minnesota has to offer? So most definitely the Lakers probably do need to take a peek in Pat Bev page and say, hey man, what made y'all so successful? You know what I mean? Other than injury, I believe if the Lakers didn't get bit with the injury bug, AD most definitely got to stay healthy. And, LeBron, I'm pretty sure Father Time is going to scratch and nick at LeBron as much as he can until he can actually catch LeBron. So, other than that, maybe they do need to say, hey, Pat, bring that fire in the season. Don't talk it in the interviews, but bring it in the season. But also tone it down some, my man. You just a role player on this ship. You know what I mean? You going to be the guy that's going to be saying roll your boat, you know what I mean, paddle on the boat. See, while LeBron and AD is the guys are gonna be like, we going this way, you know what I mean? So most definitely he gonna have to tone it down a little bit. But I like it though. It was something that the Lakers need, you know what I mean? Come in, pop your stuff, you know what I mean, and also back your stuff up too when that season cuts on. So I like it, but tone it down just a little bit, my man.
Yeah, I think Patrick Beverly is the king of irrational confidence. This guy, man, you know, some of the things he says, it just makes you shake your head. But then I think the other thing that you said was really important is that I think that this is needed for the Lakers. I think they need that kick in the butt. I think they needed that jump start. I think they needed someone to stir the pot to, you know, get everybody on their toes, keep everybody accountable to, you know, I think the energy in practice is going to go up. I think the competitiveness in practice is going to go up, and I think that's going to have an impact on the games. Now, having said that, I think it could go one or two ways. Either it's going to have a great impact, or they're just going to be scrapping and fighting. You know
well, you see him and Russ dapped each other up, you know, showing like they might have squashed it since they on teams right now.
Maybe so.
You know what I mean?
That could be a good sign. So it you know, could go one or two ways. So, but yeah, I like it. And, you know, I like the fact that he's, you know, coming in and being himself, and you know, he doesn't back down to anybody. And this is just another example where he just doesn't, you know, he's not going to back down. And so I think that that's something that's going to help the Lakers, I think, in the long run, as well as give, you know, Russ like, yo, man, don't get comfortable. Don't think that is sweet. That you're going
I got something over you. I can hit that corner three.
Right, we can put LeBron on the point, and he can, you know, and he can just sit there in the corner and wait for the driving kicks from LeBron.
So pick and roll with AD and kick out to the corner.
Don't get it twisted and think that you're untouchable. You're this guy that you can just keep doing what you want to do and get the same results, and you're not going to have to deal with the consequences of it. So I think it has a potential to be a winning situation or a helpful situation to the Lakers, but, you know, again, on the other side, it could just be totally chaos. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that, and you know, I'm sure we'll be talking about it more as the season goes on. Real talk. So stay tuned.
Bad man, look,
content,
man,
baby. Keep giving us
stay in your lane just a little bit, though, big dog. Stay in your lane. Just word back in.
Yeah. So talk about stirring the pot, and a guy that's really, and oh man, Buffalo just completed a deep. Josh Allen just completed a deep pass, and they're threatening right on the goal line now at the start of the fourth quarter, and they're up 17-10. But yeah, so you may be right. We're gonna see.
It's still time though. Still time.
There is, and you know, the Rams do have that quick strike ability to be able to get down the field, you know, quickly. So, but yeah, speaking of a guy that's been stirring the pot, and a guy that's kind of controversial, is now it's Miles Bridges. So here we are now. We're right on the cusp where we're getting down to the wire in terms of training camp is right around the corner. And we have no update in terms of what the situation is with Miles Bridges. So I'm going to, you know, the question is does Miles Bridges play in the NBA this season? And I'm going to say no. I think that, you know, with domestic violence being on such a hot topic, being such a, you know, hot button issue, I don't think that anyone's going to want to deal with the backlash of what signing or what bringing Miles Bridges to their team would do. So I think he's going to have to sit out a year. I think he's going to have to sort through all his legal troubles and get that all squared away before he is signed to another team. What do you think about it?
I think he's going to have a hard time getting back in the NBA. Like you said, that domestic violence, you know, the way
the whole sports world is trying to crack down on this whole domestic violence. So I think he's most definitely not going to play this season. I think he's going to have to revive his career overseas if he can most definitely beat this case somehow, some way. I think it's going to be it's going to be teams that's going to scared to take this gamble. Touchdown, Bills from Josh Allen running it in on the goal line. I think it's going to be tough for him to get back in the NBA. I think Commissioner Silver don't really when it's time for him to crack down, he cracks down.
Mm-hmm.
And when he cracks down, he stands behind his principle 100%. And it sucks that another guy had to lose his career over domestic violence or whatever's going on in his life. You know what I mean? It sucks that these players just just can't. I understand that these females can get underneath your skin, but man, once they get underneath your skin, it's time for you to walk away out that relationship.
That's
it's
right.
time to cut them off, man.
That's right.
It's time to think about your career. Think about yourself first when it comes to that, man. You know what I mean? Soon as you raise your hand, that Me Too thing's gonna pop out, and everything is gonna come out. And it sucks that female has that much power to be like, he hit me, and I don't know if it's videotape, if it's evidence of him actually putting hands on her, but just by her taking pictures and saying that he did it, and now he can't get his career back.
And I think there's a 911 call out there too.
So yeah, you know what I mean. And then he was shooting himself in the foot with the lean on the one picture and the weed and the other stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna look into his character now. What did he do outside of this?
Oh, without question.
You know what I mean? They probably gonna drag his name all in the mud just to prove a point. And you don't want to lose your 6-7 figure, you know what I mean, just to somebody else to prove a point about you. You know what I mean? Just walk away from the situation and wipe your hands clean, man. But I think the only way Miles Bridges is really we're gonna see him playing again, and it's gonna have to be overseas. I don't see him playing in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree with that. Either overseas, or he's gonna have to sit out a year and just whether it's suspension, kind of similar to the baseball guy. I can't think his name, Trevor Bauer, I think his name is, or he's
something like that. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, I think he gets a suspension or a significant suspension if he does sign with the team. He's gonna have to sit out for a minute. So yeah, as we get ready to wrap up the show, we got one more topic we want to talk about, and it's one of those hypotheticals, one of those fun topics. Yeah, shout out to Rip Hamilton. I saw this on his Instagram, and I put it in our group chat, and I thought it would be a really interesting topic to talk about and to debate about. So. I wish
we had the whole crew on this.
Yeah. This would be a good one. We might need to, start.
We want to bring this topic back around NBA season
with the whole crew to get their thoughts on it. But so we got the 2004 Pistons against the 2015 Golden State Warriors. Who are you taking in a 7-game series between the 2004 Pistons and the 2015 Warriors? And I'm going to go first. And this is really, really hard. Because I think at point guard, that's almost a wash between Curry and Chauncey Billups. I think it all depends on the preference. You might give a slight edge to Steph Curry. But I'm a big Chauncey Billups fan because he's that big guard. He's that guy that can that can hit the knockdown open shots, and he's also a clutch guy as well. So when you look at shooting guard, I think that's another one that's pretty close, but I probably would go a little. I probably would give Clay a slight advantage because defensively, I think he's better, and I think that he's just as good, if not better, than Rip Hamilton offensively. So I would go with Clay Thompson as the advantage there. Small forward, I'm going with Tayshaun Prince.
Yeah,
I like Tayshaun Prince over Harrison Barnes. And at the 4, I definitely go Rasheed Wallace over Draymond Green. And then at the 5, Ben Wallace and Andrew Bogut. I think I'm going Ben Wallace. So that's what 3 out of the 5 is Detroit. But having said all of that, the great equalizer is the 3-point shot.
Ooh.
And you got 2 guys that at any time can light it up from 3. And then you got a guy that I think the difference is that you got a guy in Steph Curry that out of all the, when you talk about all 10 of those guys, he's the one guy that could go for 30 or 40 a night. I don't think you have anybody you definitely don't have anybody on that Detroit team that you could say that could go for 30 or 40 on any given night in this series. So
right.
I think I'm going to go with Detroit. I'm going with Detroit because I think defensively they give Golden State a whole lot of problems because they could throw length at them, they could throw size, they could throw strength at them. They got bulk in terms of guys like Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups. I think that the physicality, and oh man, Matthew Stafford just threw a pick. Oh man, this Buffalo is pulling away. This one might be over with if they score in this drive. That becomes a 3-score game. So it's getting late early, as they would say, out in LA. But yeah, I'm going Detroit, man. I think between the chemistry, between the defense, and then the clutch factor as well, I think all of those things are in favor of Detroit. So I'm going to pick Detroit.
All right. Now, what year we win? This year or something, boy? Because that's it's a tough one.
The type of rules we playing in?
Yeah. What rules we playing with?
We'll go with today's rules.
Today's rules. Whew, that's tough. It's going to be tough. Number one, I can see a lot of flagrants. I can see a lot of people. I can see most definitely 2 people getting thrown out. Draymond and Rasheed is getting thrown out. I can tell you that. You know what I mean? Right now, they out of those 7 games,
we'll get 2 pieces in this series.
Out of those 7 games, one of those games, and it might be like game 2 or 3, is where ejection is going to get flying. Number 3, I think I like Detroit. I think Detroit came with that attitude of we don't care who's playing us. We don't care about your superstardom because you gotta sit here and think they took down the Lakers that had Kobe, Shaq, GP, Karl Malone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I'm not mistaken,
Karl Malone. So I
right, but still, I think the Lakers was like number 1 out of in that conference that year, and for you to have all those Hall of Famers, and compared to Detroit, you kind of don't at that time. You're not looking at them as Hall of Famers. Maybe Rasheed a little bit, but at times you had questions about Chauncey. You had questions about Rip. Tayshaun was young. He was he was that young defender that was upcoming. Ben Wallace was most definitely a run protector to be an undersized center, because I believe he started that undersized center trend to be down there to actually protect that rim. And then, you know, you got Sheed during that time, he was developing that 3-point shot. You know what I mean? And so it was like Detroit can match up with Golden State far as, you know, competitive wise. Now, I give the edge. You got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Steph Curry most definitely, arguably the greatest shooter that's ever gonna walk across this court, probably gonna ever walk across this earth. But also I think Chauncey can rough Steph up a little bit. I think Chauncey he might not can't keep Steph in front of him, but I think Detroit chemistry was good enough to surround Steph and to contain Steph a little bit, to kind of put him in the box the same way they kind of did Kobe and Shaq in that finals a little bit. They understand that we ain't going to stop him. But if we can just keep them in our little box and we do our job, you know, and capitalize on their mistakes, we can beat them. You know what I mean? And I was listening to I Am an Athlete podcast the other day, and they had Rasheed Wallace on there. And this is what they was talking about. They understood that the Lakers had the better team pretty much. Well, on paper, they had the better team. But inside that locker room, inside the closed doors between that Detroit Pistons team, they knew that they say, look, if we can just contain these guys and capitalize off their mistakes, we can beat them. You know what I mean? And most definitely, that's what Detroit did. They used their chemistry to capitalize off of, you know, GP and Malone only being there for 1 year. And, you know what I mean? They don't have that same chemistry as Shaq and Kobe. They also, Rasheed was also talking about that Shaq and Kobe was even looking different. They didn't look as hungry as they did previous years before. Something must have happened. Give us the update.
Josh
Give us the update.
TD strike to Stephon Diggs, baby.
Yes, sir. Hey, Ray. Wait, Ray, he is a top wide receiver. We're going to keep talking about this.
And Jalen Ramsey.
But Rasheed was talking about how the Lakers and Shaq Kobe didn't look as hungry coming into this finals because they had previous finals before and stuff like that. And he was saying that Shaq and Kobe was having a little bit of bad chemistry also. So that was capitalized off their mistakes. You know what I mean? They knew all of that. They say, look, we got the better chemistry. Long as we come out here and hoop and ball, we can beat these guys. And ultimately they did. So all in a nutshell, I think Detroit can do that to Golden State also. I think Prince can most definitely lock down Harrison Barnes. I think Prince can most definitely
put him on Steph Curry some.
I was just going to say that. I can see him Taysom Prince chasing Steph Curry off that 3-point line and lead him down there to Big Ben and Rasheed Wallace down there. Klay, you know, at times we need Game 6 Klay all the time. We just don't need him in Game 6 and stuff like that. So if Klay not going to get it hot and up and running, he's most definitely going to have to chase Rip now. And Rip was that, you know, that guy that ran through picks and was getting through his mid-range and stuff like that. So, you know, it's a lot of things that can also play in Detroit way too, as long as they play Detroit basketball. So all in a nutshell, I'm gonna go ahead and ride with Detroit Pistons. That team, not only that they're 5, that bench also, not to discredit Golden State bench, because Golden State had one hell of a bench too. The Barbosa, Livingston, and, you know, a couple other people that was on that bench. But Detroit bench, for these guys did not be named really. Donovan Ham, coach of the Lakers, was on that team. Lindsey Hunter was on that team. I'm pretty sure I can't think of nobody else off the top of my head right now, but that Detroit team had some players that knew their role. They knew Lindsey Hunter knew, I'm gonna come in, I might hit a couple threes, but my main role is to be the floor general and play defense when Chauncey is not out here. Donovan Ham wasn't a big time scorer, nothing like that, but when Rasheed and Big Ben need that break, and I need to come here and grab these boards and keep these offensive rebounds alive, Donovan Ham was able to do that.
Yeah. I think
So
Carlos Williamson was on that team too, if I remember right.
It probably so. You know what I mean? So Detroit they were stacked with players that they knew their job and knew how to play their role well. And I think they will be physical enough to take down Golden State.
Elden Campbell was on that team. I just
really?
pulled it up. Yeah.
Wow. So, and that's veteran leadership right there. That's more veteran leadership. Elden Campbell was probably like 55 playing with that Detroit Pistons team.
Solid. And we can't forget about the great Darko Milicic.
He was on that team too?
Yeah. The bust of all busts. Mike James is on that team.
Detroit should have grabbed Melo that year.
Yeah, Carlos Williamson was on that team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what Detroit was thinking. They should have grabbed Melo that draft.
They should have been able to figure out a way to play him and Tayshaun Prince together, but that's another subject for another show. So, we haven't really been doing this much, so I want to kind of do this as well. Dev, shout out your podcast and tell people where they can check out new episodes and when new episodes are coming out or what's on deck.
Yes, sir, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. Y'all can find me on first of all, my podcast is My Thoughts, My Opinion Sports Podcast. You can find me on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podbeans. I'm pretty sure some more lists that's out there. I drop every Tuesday. It's most definitely me giving my opinion on these sports topics like how we doing right now. Sometimes I'm solo. Sometimes I got guests. I'm about to have my guys, Kenny and Ray, and hopefully Chris hop on a couple of episodes, man, and give out this real talk on my thoughts and my opinion. But you most definitely can catch, like I said, I drop every Tuesday. You can catch my social media. My Instagram is MTMO_sports podcast. It's gonna most definitely let you know what episode I'm dropping, give you little clips of the episode, and occasionally what's going on in the sports world. My Facebook is gonna give you the same thing. That's my THTS my opinion, and my Twitter also is my THTS my opinion. Catch me on all those platforms, man. Check the boy out. Guarantee the same energy I'm giving you on here, the same energy I'm giving you all on my podcast.
No doubt. And mine is the N-Key Radio Show. It's if you're into creatives, into creative arts, so whatever you like in terms of being creative, whether it's music, whether it's sports, entertainment, my podcast is the place for you, and it's all independent. So there's, if you're independent creative, that's all you're gonna get on my show. Just put out an episode last week with Dr. Dre of Your MTV Raps. Got a chance to talk to him. Also, another hip hop artist by the name of Temple Ty, and he dropped an exclusive on the episode. So if you're a rap fan, you're a hip hop fan, check it out. You'll really enjoy it. Dr. Dre told some great stories or gave some great insight and talked about his struggles in terms of being a blind amputee, as a type 2 diabetic, and still doing work for people with disabilities. So it was really, really enjoyed having him on. So you can check that out. Like my man Dev, I'm pretty much everywhere you get your podcast. You can check it out: Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, all those platforms. And also, we got a video version of the podcast coming next week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. I'm talking to the film crew from a movie by the name of Purple Trail. So that'll be on the Minds of Creativity channel, which is another part of the ASAP network. So you can tune in for that on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And so stay tuned for that. And we got more episodes coming. So, and of course, we're here every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, talking, giving you that real talk. And so we'll be back on Monday at 9. We'll be reacting to our first week of NFL football and Monday Night Football will be going on, so we'll have some live reactions to that as well. So until then, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on Monday with some more Real Talk. Peace.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays.